But speaking of sobriety,
What?
Riley and I recently watched a really interesting documentary.
Ooh, not a documentary.
What is it?
It was a movie.
Oh yeah, a movie. Okay.
I guess, what's it called? A biography?
Yeah, it was like biographical
Biographical?
biographical movie, or I mean, that's even a word.
Yeah.
Maybe being stupid, but it's like a movie about Elton John. It's called Rocketman, and it came out 2 years ago already.
Yeah,
June
it was
2019.
too, yeah. So what did you think about it, babe?
Can I just say that I'm not a big Elton John fan, but I
Yes,
am.
you are.
No, I'm not.
Lies!
No, I'm a fan of Rocketman and like maybe one or two other of his songs I fucking can remember the tune of. But I did not know anything about
Me
Elton
either.
John. And then Riley brought up like, oh, let's watch this documentary called Rocketman about Elton John. And she's like, oh, they talk about him, marrying a woman because he wanted to prove he was straight and like he's actually gay. And I was like, Elton John's gay? Like, I was like, what? Like, I knew. Yeah, he dresses flamboyantly, he dresses all crazy, but I was like, that must be just some UK shit, because they love, like, those crazy colors, you know? Like, so I was like,
Yeah.
that's some UK fucking, like, musical shit. He's on this, like, crazy, like, entertainment stuff. And I knew that he was married, and I knew he had kids, but I didn't realize that he was gay and he was married to a man, and like I'm not sure if they adopted these kids or if they're these blood kids, but he has like a
They
husband.
adopted them.
He has a husband and 2 kids now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea he was gay until you told me, and we watched the documentary.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's gay.
Yeah, obviously.
But I
yeah.
didn't know that, like, I thought he was just an openly gay guy because he was so flamboyant.
With the colors.
But
and the
I
shit he
didn't
would
know
wear.
that he had gotten married and all that stuff to try to hide it. So I was really intrigued by the movie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I also liked Bohemian Rhapsody with Queen.
That's a movie too.
Mm-hmm, Straight Outta Compton. Like those are all kind of like the same types of movies. Like
The way it's filmed.
yeah,
and shit. Biographical.
biographical movies.
Another thing that.
But
sorry.
this one was different because it was like a musical version where.
Oh yeah, I knew you loved that part.
No, I was when
I hate drugs.
the first time they broke out into song, I was like laughing out loud because I was like,
knew
Yuri,
I was gonna hate it.
I was like, Yuri's not gonna do it. He's not gonna want to do this.
I love.
But I live for it.
I know. For anyone that doesn't know, Riley's an actress. She's done like stage performances. She's kissed guys on stage.
Yeah, when I was like little.
Ew.
I was like 13. Anyways, I studied drama at San Francisco State for 2 years.
Oh, drama. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Theater arts or whatever.
It's funny how it's called drama.
It's called drama, yeah. It's not theater arts there.
That's interesting.
But I'm into all that stuff. But I didn't know it was going to be like that. I thought it was just going to be about Elton John's life.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of threw me off with
Really?
all that corniness. But towards the
Thank you.
end, it got a lot better, I think.
Well, can I just say that my whole life I've always been super into Disney movies and like animated movies and like anything that has a good story to it, like I really love. Like it doesn't matter how corny it is or like cartoony or childish it is, like it has to have a good story or lesson to it for me to really enjoy it. And my whole life, anytime, even I remember I was like a fucking 10-year-old kid, anytime I like watched the thing and they just started breaking down to a musical, I was just like, ugh, like I fucking turned away, just like I hate musical
like,
shit. And then, and you know what's funny
Loving it.
is the only reason when High School Musical came out, the only reason I fucking watched it is because everyone in my fucking elementary school was watching it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Vanessa Hudgens because you had a crush on her.
I didn't have a crush until after I watched it, and then I was like, damn,
This
she's
is
hot.
lit.
I was like, she's a cutie.
Troy was easy on the eyes. Too.
Wow, fuck Troy. He's a weirdo. And I don't know. Fuck that
My
dude.
whole room.
I look
was
nothing like
High
Troy.
School Musical themed.
With hella Troy.
I remember.
Did you ever dream of Troy?
What?
Did you ever like?
I literally had posters and like framed pictures of him.
Did you ever?
My mom did.
Did you ever think of Troy?
What the
While
fuck?
chilling
No,
in-
that was like my 3rd grade year. Was
Okay,
when
never
High School
mind.
Musical
I was in like
came.
middle school, like towards high school.
Dude.
I look nothing like Troy. He's like a Hercules compared to me.
Oh my god, he was skinny.
And you look better than Vanessa Hudgens.
Aw, babe, cap. cap, but thank you.
That is not cap. But either way, yeah, I remember watching fucking High School Musical and also kind of cringing during the musical parts. But I really liked the fucking story and it was really good.
I can't wait till Broadway's back and I can take you to a show.
But either way, to get back to the Elton John thing, another thing that really surprised me is I've always heard of the name Elton John. I've heard Rocketman, heard of like all these other songs he's made and shit, like a couple other songs he's made. And like I've seen pictures of him, and I thought of him as just like some UK pianist. I never thought he had a drug problem. And also he's in his 70s now. Like when he was popping and getting in like news articles about getting caught with like strippers and drugs, that was in 1980. So it's like way before our time. And like I'm not surprised that I don't know about that, but I was like shocked to hear that he had a drug problem. He had to go to, he is completely sober now, and I didn't know that until we watched the Demi Lovato documentary where he was in it, and he was just like, she was talking about how she's trying to be sober and she still smokes weed, and then they asked Elton John, they were like, what do you think about being sober and still having a beer, or, smoking a joint every now and then? He's like, no. He's like, if you're sober, 100% sober. No, you can't be fucking around.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that either. I didn't know he was that hardcore. He even said like
he looks so innocent.
He told his mom, "I tried every single drug out there."
That's fucking heroin.
Yeah, he said, I've tried every single drug, every single one. Dude. I was like, oh, okay. There was a lot I didn't know about him, and I didn't know that he had all those fucking hits. I didn't know he did Benny and the Jets.
Really?
I
knew Benny and the Jets. I didn't know he did that one song with that lady.
Don't go making my
heart.
I didn't know that was. Love that song too.
I knew that was Elton John.
I was gonna say like
that's funny.
Watching that movie and like every time he was performing, that got me so hyped. Like that was like the best parts of the movie because it was just so colorful and dope. Yeah. Like
that would have been a true movie.
It would have been so fun to like see that during those times.
Oh, yeah, I know back. That's what I was thinking.
I always think about that when I watch like movies in this decade. It's like I wish I was a part of like the rock and roll era.
Really?
And, like seeing all
that's
that
the fucking era of groupies and like all this crazy shit. I would not want you to be a part of that.
It just seems so fun. Like
of course it does to you.
Doesn't it? Come on, the show seems so fun.
If I grew up during that era, I'd probably be a homeless crack addict on the floor.
You'd be smoking. You'd be a hippie.
I probably would be a hippie. We would probably not be together.
I'd be a hippie too.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
You'd be fucking in like some velvet like super like something like this, but it would be like leather and super tight on you.
Oh, I would be like rock and roll.
That's what I'm saying. Like with curly hair, with that puffy curly hair.
I love that shit.
But either way, one thing the documentary was really good, but one thing that I didn't like about it was it felt like it was skipping through his timeline so quickly, where it was like 1 second he's like trying to get a record deal and he's like playing all these songs and the guy's like trash, plays one good song, he's like, all right, we'll pay you $10 a week, you know what I mean? And he's just like, fuck yeah, $10 a week. And then honestly, back in the day, that was probably pretty chill. Maybe like might have been like $1,000 a week to them, compared to now. But he was like super hyped. He was like, yeah, $10 a week, that's fire. And then it breaks into a musical, and the next thing you know, he's like showing up to his dad's house, and his dad's like, heard you make $25 million a year now, and he's just, I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, how does that happen?
We don't see any progression, you know what I mean? Like, of him getting used to the money. Like, that's the most interesting part to me, is like growing up in a fucking small home, you know, having no money and like having a shitty family, and then all of a sudden having all this money on the table for you. But one thing, before, like, not to cut you off, but like just to finish my thought, one thing that I did notice about this movie is I think they made it a thing not to glorize or gloritize. What the fuck is the
glorify?
Word? Glorify. They made it a thing not to glorify drugs, where every time they show drugs, like usually in other movies, especially from that time era of the 80s and 70s, they show like fucking all these girls around, people doing coke. He's like, yeah, like blah blah. It just seems like a good time. But every time they showed him interacting with drugs, it was like a very negative, like crazy experience where the only time they showed him drinking alcohol was when he left his dad's house and he was so depressed and sad. He was like, pass me the bottle. Ugh. You know, that's the only time they showed him drinking alcohol, is like during a sad time. The only time they showed him taking pills is when he tried to kill himself. And the only time they showed him doing coke is right before he went to rehab. So it's just like, I think that was a very interesting way that I haven't seen before of portraying drugs in a movie, where they only showed it in a negative light. They did not show any party scenes of him having fun doing drugs. It was only negative scenes, you know, which I thought was really good.
I didn't even realize that, but that is true.
You noticed it after I tell you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
there's no scenes of him having fun off drugs. It's like
Yeah.
him having fun playing piano, you know, but you don't really see him having fun doing drugs.
It's just crazy, like, how fucking talented and gifted he was at such a young age.
Yeah, I know.
And how fucked up his family life was.
That makes sense, though. It's always like that.
I know. But, like, dude, I really felt for him. And, like, I've heard, like, Elton John's a dick. And, like, he's just, like, he was crazy to work with and shit.
Oh, really?
But it's, like, you can now, like, people know, like, how his family life was kind of growing up. And, like, you could see...
He was dealing with a lot of shit all the time in his head.
It doesn't excuse his behavior, you know, like...
He even said it in the documentary. He's like, I started acting like a prick 30 years ago, and I forgot to stop.
He did. Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it makes sense. And all, like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's not forgivable, but it's like, you understand.
It's like, it makes sense.
It's like, dude, his fucking dad, his blood dad, hated him because his dad hated his wife. His fucking mom was just sleeping around, like, barely kind of cared about him. She was supportive, you know, I'll give her that in the beginning, but later on she ends up, like, kind of only caring about the money, and, like, towards the end it shows that she was very selfish and really did not care about him too much. But then, I don't know, it's like, it's weird. It's a weird ass movie.
Yeah.
It is a good movie, though. It is a good documentary that it showed me a lot about Elton John I did not know.
I really want I want us to watch the one about Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, because I think it's way better than this one.
I heard a lot about it, and I'm honestly down to watch it. I've never been a huge fan of Queen.
Yeah.
So I never watched it, but his shit's crazy. Like, the only thing I know about Queen is the singer. His name is Queen, right? Or who's the lead singer?
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury. The only thing I know about him is that he was dying of AIDS, and, like, even though he was very sickly and, like, was told to lay in bed and he was literally gonna pass away any day, he, like, had done one last concert, and it was, like, one of his best concerts, and he passed away soon after. And I was like, that is fucking sick.
That's how the movie ends, is, like, that last concert.